Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
Let's talk Devils and Islanders, let's talk Penguins and Rangers, but let's not talk about Flyers, cause they're a bunch of fucks, which no one can deny,
Coming to you live from the Friends and Rivals studios. This is the live version of the Friends and Rivals podcast. I have no idea what the fuck we're doing. And we said one thing we had to agree on was not the curse. And the first curse word came within the first minute of the podcast.
And it was you, the one who's laying all the foundation for the success of this podcast.
100%.
Wait a minute, we said no person? That was real?
I didn't believe it.
There's a pipe dream in me that thinks that we could possibly get monetized by one of these streaming services that we're on. And if we curse, we will not be monetized. So we'll try to keep it. Yeah, I know. Steve's going to have to find a beep to really put in this and use it like every chance he gets. But we
unless we do some
Steve,
sort
you
of
gotta
delay,
know it's
I'm
coming.
not going to be able to. Yeah.
Look at
Steve's
this.
got to know that. I'll raise my hand when I'm about to curse. Steve can
I'll be ready.
see if you beat me.
So we were supposed to be streaming on 3 services, but we are only streaming on 2. We are streaming live on YouTube at Friends and Rivals, and on Twitch, Friends and Rivals Podcast. We were supposed to be streaming on X or Twix or however you want to call it nowadays, but unfortunately, we need a premium account on X.
Don't look at me. I'm
Thanks, Elon Musk. Thanks, Musk.
I feel like the official name of that app is X, formerly known as Twitter. That's how everybody refers to it.
Really?
Yeah, nobody just says X.
No.
And
we sure don't.
I think the media has been told officially from X, hey, stop calling it Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore. So now people call it X, formerly known as Twitter.
Can we
Pay
just
attention when people
move to
why don't they just
something
call it
else?
Twix?
Anything
Twix
else?
is so much better.
Twix is the best name, and we coined that. That
Of
is
course we did.
official. I am 100% all in on nobody else calls it Twix but us. But it's
just like
genius
Super
name.
Soakers. Just like Super Soakers for Utah. Just
Nick was all over that right from the get-go.
All over that. But speaking of our Utah hockey club, did you see how they scored?
My word.
They scored their very first goal. Well, that was a goal against, though, right? That was a goal against.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically it is a goal against, but it also went off of one of their sticks.
It was an own goal, empty net goal. What? There's no possible way that could have happened with any other team in the history of hockey, correct?
Wait a minute.
Step boy.
I clearly remember the Penguins letting their season unravel on a play like that. A regular season game against the Arizona Coyotes.
It wasn't their first goal in that franchise or that new city's history, albeit preseason. I get it.
Preseason,
but
you know.
I know. And you guys are not big on preseason anyway, so it doesn't.
And the only other time I really remember it happening was on a goal that Marty Brodeur got credit for. Because they were on the penalty kill and he made a save, and then the other team tried to get it to the point by bouncing it off the boards, and it just went right past the defenseman.
Figures we got to start the show
those
talking about
goals
Marty
get
Brodeur.
scored.
Everybody don't jump in.
I mean, we can't even say his nickname on this podcast.
No.
We could say Fatty sister-in-law.
Fatty.
No, you can't.
And we said it one time. That's
banger?
it. Ooh,
Sure.
Fatty sister-in-law banger.
There you go.
Yes. I think I like that a little bit better. So what do you think of the new digs, guys? You like the live version of this? I mean, no one's ever at 153 episodes in. This is the first time anybody is seeing our faces.
I mean, it's literally the same thing we do every week during the hockey season, just on a, other people can see us live and don't, I guess no editing now, right, Steve? Or no, you probably want to edit some of the podcasts out, some of the dead air.
I'm not going to be editing anything because then it's matching up video to send. No, there will be no editing.
No,
it's just going in.
Wouldn't have to do it for just an audio podcast that goes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
It's not getting edited.
Video attached to that.
There's not going to be any editing. So too fucking bad.
Yeah,
good for you.
All right, all right.
The downer is that everybody now everybody knows the Knicks the sexy one. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Well, even though it looks like the Islanders threw up on him tonight.
I didn't think about the background thing. It just happened. I was like, oh, I could.
You didn't think about being on camera on video?
Well, that's why my sweatshirt. I was like, oh, this will make it easy for people to know which teams are which. I mean, obviously, you guys are wearing. I mean, except for Billy's not really wearing a Penguins thing, but then when I was entering
Billy doesn't even
lobby,
have hockey in the background.
Yeah, he's actually in the music podcast. We're not in the right one here.
Penguins.
But I didn't think about that. You can make the background. So
is that Penguins?
Oh shit!
Oh,
right.
Okay, right there.
All right.
Okay. What? The guitar is like penguin colored?
No,
penguin
not the guitar.
colored?
The picture right next to the guitar is a penguin.
I know that, but I'm saying the guitar next to it happens to be penguin colored as well. We are Billy. We're not going to talk about music tonight. Sorry, buddy.
Okay. See you next week.
Sorry. Listen.
Yes. Wait a second. Hold on. It's time out. Stop. You're lying. Because yes, there is some music being talked about tonight. Is there not?
Oh yeah, but that's for after the. In fact, we started that before you got on. But we'll finish after we end the live stream. We'll not want to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about the Penguins playlist.
Oh, but that was supposed to be a surprise. God damn it! It's not even an agenda item, and you ruined the goddamn surprise. It was going to come during Billy's Penguins section. God damn it!
Already, right away. So good.
I don't know what's going on. So
it is obviously preseason for the Friends and Rivals.
How is it a surprise when you put it in the chat?
He doesn't look at that.
I don't look.
He didn't look at that. I knew he wasn't going to look at that.
Then he doesn't know what's coming his way.
No.
But no, I did promise Pete Dewar that I would not have you talk about music. I had the opportunity to meet one of our faithful listeners, Pete Dewar, over the weekend and play golf with him actually yesterday. It was quite a day. It was quite a day. Pete is a gentleman and a scholar, and it was great to spend the day with Pete yesterday.
He's a gem.
Awesome. He is a gem.
Petey Cavs, as he's known.
I still didn't get the backstory because he stopped me and said, yeah, that was the big topic of discussion last year. So I don't even know how he got calves the size of the Incredible Hulk's arms.
The gentlemen were just enamored by the sheer size, width, and mass of his calves.
All right,
is it a good thing that we're talking about men's calves on the podcast?
I'm really not. I'm just trying to keep up with you guys. But if that's what you guys want to do on the podcast,
the normal stuff we talk about. I don't know what you're talking about.
What you do?
This is mid-season.
I've known people
right here.
By the way.
No.
Well, I
haven't talked about food yet.
Shortest.
Come on.
Well, no. Well, I mean, we could talk about.
We'll save that for another day, but we'll have to make that more abbreviated, I guess. Now, maybe, but we could do it like actual video, and people will see it.
Oh, like when we do our top 5 list when the top 5 list returns.
Yeah. When we do top 5 lists.
Oh, that's coming
Steve,
back.
Steve's not happy.
No. That is
my number one. No matter what the category is that we're talking about, my number one's going to be an oatmeal cream pie, and I'm always going to have one with me. We could be talking about, we could be talking about music. It doesn't matter.
Well, there is one thing that we can talk about. I just sent a text to my son Ryan, and hopefully he is going to come into the. I don't want to into the studio. We can stay into the studio, even though we're in 3 separate states.
Your studio, yeah.
I hope he's going to come in because we have a bottle of the Coke Zero Oreo flavored soda that I would like to try. You know what? I'm gonna be.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna
go get it. Why not? Just go get it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna badmouth you or anything.
So
Oh
So we
my
wanted
god,
to
this
go
fucking
live
guy! Can you believe he's
Fucking
all worried
worst.
about us
Every
monetizing
time. All
this
about him.
podcast?
Main character. Gotta be about him.
Host leaves.
No less than 57 text.
Shit.
Oh, hey, buddy.
I heard
Whoa.
everything that you said. I still have my cans on. You dummies.
Nice cans.
Thank God he's gone. Really?
What?
Thank
What are
God
you
he's
talking
gone.
about? There's
All right,
nothing
I
there.
have to. I have to change my my speakers from my headphones to my MacBook. So now I think we can hear me. Everybody, say something.
Fuck you.
Something.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, and here in the shameless plug, we have the Coke Zero
Man.
Oreo flavored.
Is that the
Diabetes in
sexiest
a
fucking
bottle.
thing you've ever seen in your life?
Well, I don't think this is going to taste good right off Jump Street. You know why? Because Coke Zero out of the bottle sucks.
Not
Out
as
of the
good as
can?
can.
Completely different.
Not as good as
Completely
can.
different. What is that?
It's Coke Oreo.
That's a Coca-Cola Oreo?
I have those
Shut
in.
up.
I have those in transit to me.
Oh my God. It smells like Coke.
I had
It's
an
supposed
idea
to.
put the Coke
That's-
in the cup
Wait.
and then dip this in the Coke.
Wait. So how do I eat this now? Do I?
You just take a
No, no, no.
I can't just take a bite of it. What
You
are
have to. You have to. You can't split it because
I
one
can't
cookie.
split it and lick the.
No, because
Just
The
eat
one
it.
cookie is one
It's
flavor. The
colors.
other cookie is another flavor.
What do you mean it has fizz in it? It has Pop Rocks in it?
it makes your tongue.
Take a bite. Come on. Oh, you just went
Gotta
for the whole
eat
thing.
The whole thing. Who eats an Oreo like that?
Never mind.
Yeah.
Can you hear the crunching on the microphone?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear
Breather over there. It's
Of course.
crunching away. Jesus.
Wait for it to swallow and then you'll get
Wait. What'd you say?
You have to wait until you swallow and then like a minute later.
And a minute later, it'll click in. It's good.
You should start drinking the soda. It might all explode in your mouth. You might.
Oh, then please
Like
do it
what
because
the
I want
me-
to see you. I want to see you die right here on air. No, you're not. We're not getting the pop.
No, we're
rocks.
not going to
No.
hear that.
I wanted you to hear the pop of the Pop Rocks on my tongue
happening?
while I ate this.
Should I get two more?
Nah.
No, don't get two more. I don't have enough
Go
time
get-
on the podcast for this.
You
This
got-
is why our podcasts are normally an hour and
Yeah.
45 minutes long.
Yeah,
Why
no, but
you
we were
all
gonna
signed up to
definitely keep it to an hour though. That's what I
watch
heard
this.
a little bit ago.
No, they if they couldn't hear mine, what makes you think they can hear yours?
He's got a bigger mouth than you do.
Well, he sure does. Really? Are you sure about that? He
Think
learned
so.
from the master. All right, so here we go. Do I have to cleanse my palate first?
No.
Or should I
Oh,
just
No,
go.
yeah, get a little
Drink it.
limoncello
Jeez.
first. Jesus Christ.
People are saying that's better than the cans.
It's one drink. Everybody knows the rules.
Verdict.
It yes, no, that was good. That was a good fizz on it. It's
Coca-Cola.
definitely got an Oreo flavor to it. Holy crap.
Wow.
Fitting
say.
because it's called
Yeah.
Oreo flavor.
But I never
Marketing
man, I never
geniuses.
kind of associated Oreos and Coke together. It's Oreos and milk. Everybody knows this. But
Yeah,
Pilk.
strange.
milk?
Pepsi and milk.
Get out. Get out.
You
Now,
Ryan,
Before-
Ryan,
get out of the
wait,
studio.
You have
No,
that.
no,
That's what
Ryan.
That's what you
No.
all need to try next week. Including
Ryan,
you. Including
Ryan.
You.
listen.
Can you give us a live version of the podcast intro right here, right now?
Give me that bottle again. You say with the don't say the thing. Come on,
Right up on the mic. Yeah.
Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
He sounds so
Good job,
much. He
buddy.
sounds like a 45-year-old now compared to what he used to sound like.
Thank you, Ryan. Take this shit out of here.
Thank you. Thank
Ah,
you.
Stuff. Take the
Curse.
stuff out of here.
Just for a refresher, this is what he sounded like.
Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
So young and innocent, and now not so much.
He's just older. That's all. That was what? That was 4 years ago.
That goes.
Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast. That's what he sounds like now.
It wasn't that deep. It definitely was not that
He's from
deep.
Florida. He probably smokes 6 packs a day.
Yep.
But goddamn,
Florida man.
that Oreo Coca-Cola. Holy hell!
I can't wait for my cookies to be delivered next week.
The Pop Rocks in the cream completely threw me off. Game changer, by the way. It was awesome.
He loves the
Wow.
explosions in his mouth.
Giggity.
All right.
Giggity. So what our last podcast was what, July 2nd? Was that
Right
our last
after-
podcast? Or was it the week after? I don't even remember at this point. But it
July-
just
June
seems
3rd?
like
July 2nd.
July 2nd. It
Never mind.
seems like forever ago, forever ago since we have done this podcast. And I got to tell you, I miss talking to you guys. I miss all of this. I'm so happy we are back. Couldn't be happier. But was it me? I mean, my team was the last to play out of all of ours, and it still felt like flipping forever.
Watching the preseason game last night, it was like I'd never seen hockey before because my team, I had forgotten what it was like for my team to play in a game. So to have a strong rooting interest in a game just seems so foreign to me because it was like April
Tax
12,
day.
13, 14, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So I thought
didn't
it's
have
going to
that
be
same-
decades. It's going to be decades until I have that long of an off season again, though. So that's what I have to look forward to.
It did feel like a long time. It did feel like a long time. I don't think I forgot what hockey was like, but I really was like, wait, 2 weeks from the season? That's very soon. I didn't think it was that close, but it's not like it feels like football they talk about for like a month ahead, but here it's like hockey. It's just preseason's only 2 weeks, three to 3 weeks, I guess, because it's really like camp started 5 days ago.
I mean, it's four days of camp, and then right into we have our first listener comment.
I have to believe that's about Pete's Cavs. I have to think that's about Pete's Cavs.
No, it can't be that far behind.
It was 9:30. It's 9:32. Yeah, he does. Had to be about Pete's Cavs.
Thanks for the context, Alex. Appreciate it.
Well, it was well, listen, I'm not used to looking for comments during our recording of our show. So that's bad on me, not bad on Alex. That one's on me.
We'll get it
Explosion.
straightened away.
Never mind.
There you go.
It was that. All right.
Agreed.
Much better.
Oh,
Yep.
What do you mean agreed? Oh man. Yeah.
All right. So how was everybody's summer? Because clearly that was the segment we're talking about here. Anybody have anything good in the off season here?
Jesus. How was my summer?
Tom is
Boy,
baffled.
So somebody else want to go?
I guess I'll go. I apparently I'm actually prepared for once, and you guys are fucking it up already. This is awesome. So now how
Really?
you guys feel about me all the time.
You have no idea.
So we didn't do too much this summer. We did we set the kids up to New Jersey for about 3 weeks, and then we came and picked them up, hung out there for a week. So they were up there for almost a month total, and then we just kind of came home. We did some small trips early in the year, so we don't have any big plan this year. But we are in the middle of partially remodeling our kitchen. We've been, which is more of the more expensive thing to do than a trip. So we've had we had some water things that were going on, and it prompted us to take. Everything is good. It's all fine. There's no water damage, but we had something that happened a couple years ago. That
Did your neighbor run over a water line with his lawnmower or something?
That would be sound better than one of us flushing the toilet and it overflowing for 20 minutes.
Well, that happened at Steve's house. That's great.
That was like 4 years ago, but we didn't. Everything was good. It was fine, but we noticed that some of the cabinets started to come off the wall a little bit, and we had to take it off and figure it out. Everything was dried.
Yeah.
It was everything that all the water didn't come from that spot, but someone behind it. Anyway, we took it all off and we said, this wall, we're going to change it, get a different setup. So we got a new stove, and we put that in now, and we're working on the plans and everything to do the flooring and new countertops and some other stuff like a different sink. But all of it is, unless you get a contractor, it's kind of like you got to figure it out how to do it the right way and order. And contractors are expensive, so we are trying to do as much as we can before we go into that direction and then have them come in and do those things.
I was
So-
trying to figure out what was going to be your segment this year. It's This Old House with Nick this year. That's your new segment this year.
Well-
It says progress on the kitchen. That's what we're
You know,
doing, Nick, this year.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Now you guys know me well. Like Tara's more handy than I am, so I'm probably getting in the way most of the time. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we make it through this next few months and get it all done. And it looks nice, hopefully. So, and then last thing, I got to hang out with Billy. He came down to see me in North Carolina. We got to hang out, see the NC State game, my first NC State game, and it was a thriller. Should have been a blowout, but it wasn't a thriller, but it was a close game. It's competitive.
Yeah.
And we brought the boys. Obviously Billy was down there with Casey visiting schools and everything, going their little southern trip, and we managed to get there. I kind of screwed up on the parking, but we still made it there. We met up with Billy, got in there, had some beers and food, really, and did our thing. Had a good time.
It looked like a good time, that's for sure.
It was. So that was my summer. Not really too much going on, but staying home and trying to save my pennies for future tiers.
Future
being
kitchen.
Well, Nick kind of touched on my summer already. Yeah, we visited so many colleges, Northeast with Casey, and up through the Northeast and like out through like the Southeast through Tennessee. University of Tennessee is awesome. I think that's what we both learned. And yeah, a lot of fun going to some football games out there, seeing Nick, and that's it. That was mostly our summer.
Billy's going to wind up spending $100,000 touring college campuses just so Casey can go to Rutgers.
23 colleges we visited so far.
23 colleges. The kid's going to wind up at Rutgers, 7 miles away.
That's so true.
I took my vacation before our podcast ended, so I feel like I didn't do anything this summer other than just sweat in the sweltering heat of Florida. That's all I did for the summer.
Well, it was summer heat up here because we had a stretch of like 7 to 10 days where it was over 100 degrees. Thankfully, that was in July. We vacationed in August down Manasquan for a week. And more recently, just got back from Texas, family wedding down in Texas. So we didn't really do much this summer either. Just watch the free agent signings and waiver wire pickups and ready to go with the season.
Yeah, and hey, before we get into our stuff, the tragedy that happened a couple weeks ago in South Jersey with Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. Listen, we gave
him a lot of shit.
We gave him a lot of shit for not signing with the Islanders or with the Devils and signing in the hometown and all that stuff in Columbus, and Billy loving his nickname and all. But this was the most gut-wrenching thing the hockey world could have endured for this year. And it's sad as hell that we lost such an incredible talent that really puts a spotlight on the game that we love so much. Our hearts go out to the entire family of the Gaudreaus, and we send our deepest condolences to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything more than that.
Well, I'm going to add a little more later on.
Oh. Well, listen, Billy, I think that you are going to get your opportunity right now because we are going to ride the Metro, and we are going to start with the old Pittsburgh Penguins
because they were the biggest losers last year. Yeah, I would have to say so.
Reverse order.
Yeah, so problems with the Penguins last year. Missing the playoffs for the second year in a row, but it wasn't all exactly the same issues. When you look player by player through the Penguins last year.
Wait, what music are you possibly playing?
It's called Daydreams.
Oh no, we can play music on each other.
Sorry.
God.
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
Quite honestly, I just wanted to see how long it would be till he got distracted. I didn't figure it would be Tom who would be distracted first.
I was just wondering what was coming through my head.
I would have talked right through it.
What I was hoping for.
It went so well.
Sorry.
Oh,
New toys have to play.
So yeah. Well, it's just me now. Okay. Yeah, so the Penguins tough season last season, but for different reasons than the year before. As I was saying, like it, issues the year before, were like goaltending and like not being able to hold a lead. Well, that one actually stayed the same. The not being able to hold a lead was definitely a theme last year. But a lot of guys had a lot of good seasons last year. It was lack of any success in the power play. The power play was a disaster last season. And so one of the moves in the offseason was getting rid of whoever the hell the guy in charge of that was, and bringing in David Quinn to be an assistant coach and a power play coach, and also happened to be the coach that was in San Jose when Erik Karlsson had his best season. So maybe hoping to spark a little more production out of him. So that's a big move. Other big moves, were picking up some depth pieces like a Blake Lizotte, who's supposed to be a really good penalty kill guy, should help their kind of overall plus minus on special teams somewhat. Taking a chance on going out and get Cody Glass, a former first round pick, 6 overall, but way back in 2017. So safe to say he's not been panning out. I think he was, he came from Nashville. I think he was playing somewhere else even before that, but couldn't swear to it. But I think he's looking at this as an opportunity to kind of get his career back on track. The big trade of the offseason was Brandon Yeager, who was the prior season's first round pick, who was still in juniors. They traded him to the Winnipeg Jets for Rucker McGroarty, who didn't seem happy with Winnipeg for whatever the reason was, and so he had expressed interest in leaving. Two first round picks in consecutive years getting traded for one another. So I had to hear how great Brandon Yeager was through last year's playoffs and juniors and everything, and how excited the Penguins were to have him. And then they just trade him on a dime for another prospect. But in Rucker McGroarty, a prospect who had played in Michigan, who presumably they think at least has a shot to be ready to play this year. So that accelerates the timeline, maybe a little bit of getting that player in here. And I think also he's widely regarded to have somewhat more of a upside potential than Brandon Yeager does. So we'll see where that goes. And, only time's going to tell if that was a good deal or not. So for training camp right now, the Penguins invited 69 players to camp. They've got
oh my God, in heaven.
Perverts.
Oh my God.
when you look at the forwards, there's a math problem here right now, because they've got McGroarty plus another 16 NHL veterans who you would assume are going to have a spot on an NHL roster this year. So obviously the guys who are there, who have the kind of their roles cemented in one way or another, are Sidney Crosby, of course, Brian Rust, Evgeny Malkin, Michael Bunting, and Lars Eller, who'll be the third line center almost surely. Then to some degree, in some combination on the first two lines, you're going to have Drew O'Connor, Ricard Raquel, and Valtteri Puustinen. And I think Raquel, his role on the top two lines is very much in danger with Puustinen. Now, Puustinen scored 34 points last season in about 52 games, whereas Raquel scored 37 points in 70 games. Average time on ice for Raquel was over 16 and a half minutes, and then time on the ice for Puustinen was less than 12. So it really looks like Raquel might start on like the second line with Malkin, but I think Puustinen is going to get a very close look, because he's just a lot more productive without ever having been in that top two line role. And then the rest of the forwards that we're looking at, we've got Kevin Hayes and Jesse Puljujarvi. It's time for me to start.
I love it when Billy's team's
Whatever
got
the
to get pronounced.
That guy who actually scored a hat trick. He had the Penguins' only 3 goals against Buffalo in their first preseason game when they lost 7-3. So he's making a case for himself for at least some depth scoring. And Lazat and Cody Glass, you got McGroarty, you got Nola Chari, Anthony Beauvillier, Emil Benstrom, and Matt Nieto. It's a lot of guys with NHL experience there. I would almost say Beauvillier has very little chance of making it, but there's going to be 4 cuts out of all that, and 1 or 2 guys that'll stick around as the extra forwards. But it should be a challenging camp, and hopefully that results in the Penguins having just more production of some kind out of their 3rd and 4th lines, whether it's just gritty, tough to play against, or can add a little bit of scoring. They just have to be, kind of net positive lines. And then on defense, we've got a bunch of guys going for the 7th spot now. On defense, I'm a little more comfortable having extra guys because they get beat up so much. But you got Letang and Pedersen, Carlson, and Matt Granolacek.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Granolacek
from Boston. Ryan Graves, in kind of my fantasies, Ryan Graves is on the bubble, but I know he's not. I know he's going to have a role there. And so that's the 5, and then the extra guys, you got Sebastian Aho, the other one, former Islander, John Ludwig, who tough, gritty, but doesn't look ready for the NHL. Not the end of last season anyway. Ryan Shea and Jack St. Ivany, who actually played pretty well for them. And then long shot being Owen Pickering, 20-year-old former first-round pick. Probably not going to be ready this year, but he's going to get a look as well. So just trying to fill those spots, and you got the goaltending. The goaltending was, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes this year. They got the same goaltenders back, Tristan Jarry, and what's that guy's name?
Alex Nedeljkovic.
Okay,
Help him.
mid-season form.
Well, he normally says needle dick or something like that.
Yeah, it's his goalie. Let him get up now.
Oh yeah, sorry,
was,
Needle Richard.
Yeah, he was the guy down the stretch who played much better than Jarry, and I'm sure that they looked into moving Jarry in the offseason, but for whatever reason he's back, so we'll see where that goes. But at least we got Nedeljkovic, who I'm a little more comfortable with than Jarry right now. So that's the state of affairs in camp. Going to be kind of interesting to see who ends up, really making the roster open tonight. A lot of guys, a lot of bodies.
The more important things that are going on in camp is that the marketing department for the Pittsburgh Penguins apparently asked them what their playlist to Penguin, what the Penguins are listening to, what the Penguin players are listening to. So let's start with a gem. Let's start with Chris Letang, probably one of the more heralded defensemen in Penguins history. What do you think he's listening to, Bill?
He's an old rock guy, I bet.
Yeah. So give me an old rock tune that he'd be jamming out to.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fortunate Son.
No, Time and Time Again, Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper, Bill.
Time and Time Again or Time After Time?
Yeah, sorry. Time After Time. Sorry. My
okay. I didn't know if she maybe she was not very creative with her titles,
Sequel.
and maybe she just
no.
This one's Time After Time.
This
next one's Time and Time Again.
Well, that was Counting Crows. Sorry, that was Freudian slip. No, how about Ricard Raquel? What do you think he's listening to, Bill?
Oh, definitely some P Diddy hip hop right there.
P Diddy, I Need the Baby Oil song? Is that
99 Problems in the
There you
Bitch? Was that one of his? I don't remember.
That was Jay-Z.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Same thing.
Nope.
How about Money for Nothing from the Dire Straits?
Dire Straits. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Mark Knopfler, man.
yeah.
I like some Mark Knopfler.
Absolutely. How about Ryan Graves has been well traveled the past few years, going from Colorado to New Jersey, now to Pittsburgh. What's Ryan Graves listening to, Bill?
That long hair freak. He's doing some Ozzy. He's got some old Black Sabbath Ozzy, some Paranoid.
Yeah, well, not quite. Not quite. He's rocking to Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's on brand. It's kind of on brand though.
Oh, stop
dig
it. But because he was a devil, you got to give him a pass on one?
No, just saying the long hair, that's fits.
What about probably the greatest player of our generation? How about Sidney Crosby?
Oh, Sidney Crosby's so cool. He's definitely listening to some Dream Theater. I'm thinking probably Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory, the concept album from the late 90s.
He probably has the alt
What?
cover too.
What in God's name is that?
It's the greatest album of all time. Only that's all.
Yeah,
But, you know.
I don't even know. Shabuzi, a bar song, Tipsy. I that's what he's listening to. I have no idea what that is.
Sounds
probably
country.
No
killer.
idea what that is. But yeah, you guys are listening to some tunes.
Nice.
That was great. That was really nice of the Penguins PR department to share that with the entire world. The second page was just about the everybody who's not going to make the team and what they're listening to, and
So-
no one really cares. No one really cares.
What's Gino
49
listening to?
of them.
That's what I need to know.
They didn't have Gino on here at all, nor did they have
Those
that other
Western
guy.
Europeans love their club music. I bet it was something clubby.
Yeah, is anybody
The
anybody
theme to Miami Vice.
no. Tristan Bros. Do you have any idea who that is, Bill?
Yeah,
course he
yeah.
does.
It's center from the University of Denver.
Awesome.
Probably not ready for this
Oh.
season, but definitely going to play
No.
for the Penguins in the near future.
He is listening to Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys, by the way.
Oh, okay.
By the way, just
Classy.
to wrap
Classy.
this up, time and time again, Counting Crows song.
Yeah. I did say that.
Oh, okay.
I did. I yelled at myself.
I don't pay attention.
And that's fine. I know you don't. Well, at least Nick does. Well, at least he's telling us he is.
He's actually paying attention.
Every
right,
time
Steve,
I'm
let's
wondering,
go
but
to
then
New
there it is. It says right there. He's actually paying attention.
All right, let's go to New Jersey Devils.
So a lot of additions and subtractions this year, mainly on defense, which was really the key because the defense was so porous last year that, in terms of people being able to skate right by them and just terrible coverage in front of the net. So it was great to see them land one of the bigger names this offseason, which they've actually done the last couple of years in Brent Pesce. Also wrangled Brandon Dillon, Stefan Nason, Paul Cotter, Tatar's coming back. But maybe the biggest offseason acquisition was Sheldon Keefe, who hopefully getting out of the spotlight in Toronto, he'll be able to prove how good of a coach he is. I think he caught a lot of flack unnecessarily from the Toronto media. I think he's going to come in and do a great job. Subtractions, Marino's gone, Holtz is gone, McLeod playing over in the KHL while he's awaiting trial. Hopefully they're going to throw the book at him. Brendan Smith and Tierney are gone along with Tomasz Nosek. So I'm really looking forward to see how the defensive pairing works out. I'm really looking forward to see if they're going to keep Meyer with Hughes. A couple of years ago when Tatar was with the Devils last, the Tatar, Heischer, Mercer line was one of the best lines in hockey for that season, statistically. So it'll be interesting to see if they put them back together or if they throw Bratt. Bratt and Heischer seem to work very well together. So they just find a third for him, drop Mercer to the Hughes line with Meyer. It's a pretty solid top six right there. Paul Cotter is maybe the most interesting pickup for me in the offseason, strictly because I'm really looking forward to seeing him throw the body around. It's something the teams have been missing. Somebody down the lineup who really is ready to throw the body, aggressive on the forecheck. And he played really well last night. So it's going to be really interesting to see the next couple of games. If we see him, I would think we'll see him one more time in the preseason. It's going to be interesting to see if he continues to play like that. So the Devils have 7 preseason games, 4 this week, so 3 more this week. And then after that, I think the main group of guys is going to head overseas because they're starting the season in Prague. So they're going to get them over there early, going to get them acclimated, time change, and all that stuff. So the last 4 preseason games are really, I think, going to be mainly either AHL guys or there was a couple of PTO guys. They're just going to fill those lineups, the 30th on September 30th, and then the 1st and 3rd of October. They're just going to fill the lineup with spare parts, basically, is how I see it. So really, these next 3 games, it's going to be really interesting to see how many NHL regulars they get, and if in that 4th game they go with a predominantly NHL lineup.
Are they playing any international teams while they're over there in the preseason?
They haven't really mentioned that they are or aren't. So I usually they do, but maybe they don't want them to just to stay healthy. I don't know.
I thought Buffalo was going to play one of the teams over there. I thought that was announced.
Quite possibly. I mean, it's Buffalo, so who really cares?
Yeah, you're exactly right. No, but definitely the Devils would be the bigger draw, and I would have figured if there was going to be an international game, it would have went to the Devils and not necessarily the Buffalo Sabres. But we'll see. All right, let's go to the New York Islanders.
All right. So we had a pretty quiet summer mostly. The beginning of this summer, we had at the end of the UFA, or I guess the start of the UFA season, we signed Anthony Duclair for 4 years. Nice to add him. We didn't have a lot of room for people to bring in here, so with the cap situation going on. But we were able to bring back Mike Riley, Simon Holmstrom, and Oliver Wahlstrom each for a year. Those guys are all kind of on see if it's going to work for the Isles, and maybe I think it's the year for Wahlstrom. I'm not even sure if he makes it to the season. They might move. I feel like they could move him if they don't have a spot for him at this point. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Mike Riley, he played really well last year. And I think they just want to see if he's going to continue that route. And if so, they'll probably offer him 2 or 3 more years, I'm sure, at the end of this year or during the year. Simon Holmstrom, another kind of guy that's trying to keep a spot. I think he's definitely a couple steps ahead of Wahlstrom in that regard. He was leading the league last year in shorthanded goals. I'm not sure if he finished that there or tied, but he was up there for quite a bit. And we also brought it back Kyle McLean for 3 more years, and he kind of deserved it on the fourth line, replacing Cal Clutterbuck on the fourth, who we lost as one of the subtractions for the year. Cal Clutterbuck and probably Matt Martin, unless Martin comes back. He's on a PTO right now. He might be a press box guy and then come in for a game or two. I just don't see how we fit him in. I mean, I know he's a Lou guy that we talked about a number of times, and he's part of the identity line. He's been on the island forever. I thought he should just, ride off in the sunset with Cal. But he came back hungry and wanted to play some more, so we'll see. Sebastian Aho, the better Sebastian Aho, left the Isles. We couldn't give him a 6th. I guess so Mike Riley won that spot last year as a 6th defenseman, and it's going to hurt, I think, with him gone, because we don't have that 7th guy that really could step in as an actual NHL defenseman right now. And I think that one's going to be interesting. And I think Wahlstrom may need to be moved for another defenseman, just because I think too many forwards, and I think Wahlstrom's gonna not really a good spot to sit there the whole season on the bench or in the press box. Outside that, we had some fun, not so fun news that Ilya Sorokin had some minor back surgery. A little concerning about that, but he's skating, and they said he might miss a couple days, of the camp, and hopefully he'll be back in playing. Sounds like it was a minor cleanup surgery, but nevertheless, anything with the back on a goalie is not a great thing. It's a big warning sign, so hopefully that doesn't turn into anything else. But just hoping right now. I'm getting flashbacks of Rick DiPietro right now, so I'm really hoping that's not the case here. And lastly, from the summer recap, we had our first. It's our first summer for Patrick Waugh. He's as the actual coach, so he's had the whole off season to kind of plan for the team and figure things out. And he's right away starting off day one. For looking for that buy-in, doing some bag skating at the rookie camp. He wasn't actually leading the camp, but he's been basically overseeing it a little bit and making sure guys are really buying in and not screwing around. Just really wants them to have a good start to start the year. And to be honest, that was something that we saw in the preseason game. I felt like in yesterday's game, the team seemed to be very much on, playing pretty much right away off the bat. A little bit of jitters in the first period, but after that, I felt like they took over. Even though the game stats seem to be very even. Did you want to say something, Steven?
It was mentioned several times from Devils broadcasters and fans alike how much more better conditioned the Islanders were at this point in camp than the Devils.
They looked it.
The second half of the game, they dominated.
Yeah, it was very much. I mean, you're not kidding. The first period, they just seemed to be just kind of all over the place. Not settling the puck, not doing things they need to do, letting the early goal. But then it started to really turn it on, and everything seemed to start to click, and they really were pressing, and I didn't see them really fall off too much, in terms of the second, third periods later in the third period especially. I felt they played a really solid game, and the vets really looked like they looked like the best players on the ice. No surprise, especially the Palmieri, Brock Nelson, Holmstrom line that had multiple opportunities for super goals. Didn't convert really on those, but the big thing for this game though really was one of the minor kind of additions. I didn't even mention it last year, just because it was a Russian player we picked up as somebody who playing well in the KHL, and hey, this guy Maxim Slipkov. Oh shoot, I screwed up already. It's Siplikov. I got it. So he is 6'3", 210 winger. Big guy, not the prettiest skater, but it didn't really seem to hurt him too much. But he's got some pretty good hands, man. He had a really sweet assist on the second goal where he had a fake shot into like a toe drag pass. It's hard to explain it until you watch it. And you're like, he just faked everybody out, and hit Gauthier on a really easy goal. But
Islanders draft pick?
No, this is a free agent signing.
Free agent signing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's 26. He's not a young kid. He's
okay.
But he's seemingly been a guy that the camp's been talking about quite a bit. And Wall wanted to see how his compete level is in the game, because like he was saying in camp that he looks fine, looks great, he's got all the skill, but he wanted to see how he plays.
Right.
And he did not have any. Honestly, the first couple, a little out of position, a couple of spots on defense. Not surprised. It's just preseason stuff, but he really returned it around and looked really good. And Devils announcers were rightly pointing out a number of things he was doing right, and very strong on the puck in the corners, and most importantly, he could cycle. He knows what he's doing there, and he might make a spot for himself. There's a good chance he starts the season on the second line with up there with what was I gonna say? I had it here. Likely with Nelson and Palmieri. It's possible. The problem is that you have a number of guys that could move up and down. Duclair, Horvat, and Barzal are going to start the season. Just get together and see how that line plays out. And then third line looking like JG Pajot and most likely Simon Holmstrom back and forth. And then third line with Engvall on the other side. Lastly,
is this the
Anders
Oscars?
Lee is kind of like, yeah, right. I got time, man. I'm timing myself. Relax. Chill. The big question mark for me is, where is Anders Lee going to fit into all this? Because if he's not playing on the second line, and this guy Slipakov slides in, he could find himself in the third or even fourth line. It's going to be interesting. I get the feeling that Waugh's going to just move people around all season anyway. I don't think it's going to matter, but I think it's going to be strange to see how he's going to fit all these people in without somebody sitting on the fourth line at different points. Now, Slipakov could be on the fourth line, and he just doesn't really get it going, and that's how it goes. But it's some interesting options that we didn't have at the end of last year. So I'm hoping to see that work out. On defense, everything's the same. Nothing changing there. Mayfield's back from injury, so Romanov and Dobson top pair, Pelech and Pulak second pair, Mike Riley and Scott Mayfield is the bottom pair. Sorokin and Varlamov are the two goalies, unless anything happens with Ilya, but seemingly that's not going to be a problem. My biggest worry is who's our seventh defenseman. Bolduc is our seventh defenseman currently, and he's just, I don't know. I watched him again. He had quite a few like small gaffes and giveaways in the game. I know it's preseason, but I'm not sure he's that guy to slip in. I get a feeling they're going to have to find somebody, maybe at a camp, maybe somebody just steps up, or potentially, like Mike Riley, we find him on the waiver wire, just pick up somebody like a solid vet. The problem I also have is they're at the cap. Like if you look at the cap, they're the only team perfectly at the cap right now. No money over, no money under. So I don't know how they fit anybody in, unless they start burying cap space, but it's going to be interesting to see how they make it all work. But either way, I feel like it's positive, good start to the preseason, and I'm looking forward to week one.
Going back
Look,
to
if
this
you-
guy
it-
that's teetering on the edge of the lineup, it's always nice to have a guy like that because you can drop a vet who might not be performing up to the level you expect them to, and fill that roster spot with no shortage of talent, and get the point across to the vet like, hey, here's a guy, he's ready to take your spot. If you don't step it up, you're going to be playing in that fourth line.
Agreed.
And look, if
Agreed.
you don't have a place to put Andrews-Lee, we'll take him. I mean, I guess we can use the size and the physicality for sure.
He'll find a spot. He'll find a spot.
Yeah, I am sure he will. So let's go to your defending President's Trophy and Metro Division champion, New York Rangers. And look, the Rangers have got big shoes to fill, right?
Fucking
President's
PowerPoint
Trophy.
guy.
Sixth in goals for, seventh against. Their special teams index was second only behind the Carolina Hurricanes. Can Artemi Panarin replicate what he did last year with 49 goals and 71 assists for 120 points? I'm not sure, but one of the biggest things from the Rangers last season and the season prior was the ability for them to stay healthy.
That's the
10
most mind-boggling
players.
thing I think I'm going to see this week.
Yeah, 10 players on their roster played 80 games or more last season, minus Filipino, of course. But the majority of the season, Kako went down for a little bit. Other than that, the team was relatively healthy. In the offseason, look, it was a lot of re-signing of your own team. Can I mute you? I can mute you. Yeah. Okay, good. So a lot of re-signing of our own players. Ryan Lindgren came back. Keandre Miller re-signed. You signed Capo Caco, Braden Schneider, and you bring in a fourth line center in Sam Carrick. You also make, I guess, the big move of the offseason in bringing in Riley Smith to try and solidify the right side. At least he'll get the first crack at the right side with Zibanejad and Kreider. And I'm going to keep you muted because your typing is
Good luck
just
with that.
ridiculously loud. Holy crap. I will take the under on this, and for the win, that will be great. Thank you. So Sam Carrick is being brought in as the fourth line center at this point in time, in hopes that he kind of gets pushed off of that fourth line, but not a lot of big moves. I mean, the biggest loss is Eric Gustafsson. Okay, I can kind of deal with that. And some of the guys you traded for that you knew you weren't going to re-sign anyway because they were just out of your price range. And I think the offseason was definitely focused on re-signing your guys. Look, the trade for Trouba didn't happen. He came into camp. We were all curious about what he was going to say. He said all the right things. The team said all the right things about it was being blown out of proportion. All that. Was it really blown out of proportion? Probably not. But at least that's what they said. There's good communication there. Trouba wants to play, and he looks like he's ready to go. And look, this is going to be your projected lineup for this year, and it's not all that dissimilar from last year, except you're going to circle that third line with Hedel, with Cooley and Kako. That line played in Boston yesterday afternoon, late afternoon game, 5:00, and they were good and they were excellent. One of the reasons why they were excellent, and there was a lot of Ranger fans, I think, blowing this a little out of proportion on Twitch yesterday, is that they were basically playing against the Providence Bruins. That line should play well against the Providence Bruins. Okay. It wasn't against the, hardly any of the mainstays in the Boston Bruins lineup. If anything, it was their third or fourth line guys. And you know what? If that's the case, our third or fourth line guys are better than your third and fourth line guys, Boston. Live with that. But Filipino took a couple body checks. Everybody winced. He came out of it with a goal and an assist and really was asserting himself and really played a very good game. As camp goes on, we'll see how that goes. But look, there's going to be no surprises. This is going to be the Rangers. This is kind of what we knew was going to be the Rangers team for this year.
Where did Sam? I apologize if you said it and I missed it. Where did Sam Carrick play last year? Like, I don't know this name.
Anaheim.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
That would make
Anaheim.
sense. Like, not a lot of national coverage on a team that didn't get a lot of press.
No, and look, and these are the Rangers' next in line guys. Somebody gets hurt on the team. These guys are knocking on the door to come up and play. Johnny Brodzinski is probably going to be your 13th forward going into the season. But a lot of looks at some of these young players, especially these young forwards in the preseason. They had the rookie game against the Flyers a couple of weeks ago, I think it was last weekend, and where Berard and Offman were playing on the same line together. And I was kind of hoping for Offman to really be assertive, be physical, and be a presence out there. And I was kind of disappointed that he wasn't that type of player. It kind of looked like he was going through the motions. Maybe it was a rookie game and this was his third rookie game and he wanted, but I was kind of hoping for that. But the good thing about it is I think we saw a little bit of that yesterday in Boston where he was assertive. He was using the body. He was playing a really heavy game. And he's not going to crack the top 6 this year. I think he's destined for the bottom 6 this year. But he's got to beat out somebody. I don't know if he's beating out Will Cooley, and I don't know if he's going to beat out Jimmy Vesey this year to take one of those spots for him. But Laviolette has said at the beginning of camp, he wants one of these kids, whether it's Berard, who led the Wolfpack in goals last year, Offman, Sikora, somebody to come in here and wow us and give you the roster spot because you earned it, just like Will Cooley did last year. On defense, next up, you have your 5 guys listed on here. I think one of the guys getting the main press, and he did have a goal yesterday in Boston, is Victor Mancini. He's a big kid. Also Matthew Robertson, who's been in the Rangers system for quite some time. Could be it. This could be his make or break year. We say that about Philip Hedl seemingly every year. But this could be it for Matthew Robertson. If he doesn't crack the lineup this year, and I really do think Zach Jones has a lock on that 6th defensive spot to replace Eric Gustafson, and either Chad Ruedel or maybe Ben Harper is going to get that 7th defenseman position locked up. But you don't want to put Matthew Robertson in that position to be a 7th defenseman. You want him to play all the time, and you'd rather have him playing top line minutes in Hartford than a 7th defenseman role up with the Rangers. But this is his opportunity to go in there and again knock the coach in the head, as Laviolette had mentioned. But these are the kind of questions that are coming into camp. Which kid is going to step up and make an impact like Cooley did last year? We talked about Offman, we talked about Sikora, and even Brett Berard. Can Philip Hedl stay healthy? I have this vision of, in 97, 98, the Rangers signed Pat LaFontaine to replace Mark Messier, who went to Vancouver. And, LaFontaine had a history of head injuries and concussions. And, is Philip Hedl a Mike Keane hit away from, not playing anymore? How much can he stay healthy this year and be a productive third line forward or third line center? there was a thought of me of him going back with Panarin and starting the season with Panarin and Lafreniere. But I think the way Trocheck played last year, there's no possible way you can break that line up as your, call him your number one line, call him your number two line with Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere. Can the Rangers stay healthy again like they did last year, like they did 2 seasons prior to that? And is this core good enough to win the Cup? This is their opportunity now. It seems like all those teams that won the President's Trophy within the next 2 years of winning the President's Trophy, they were raising Lord Stanley's Cup. This seems like it's the last crack at it for this core. Jacob Trouba is 1,000% getting traded in the offseason after this season. Can they win the Cup? And there's been a lot of press about Laviolette and coming in for the first year and bringing teams to the playoffs. And my light just went out for some unknown reason. And bringing the team to the playoffs. And how well are they going to do in the second year? Is he going to have a Gerard Gallant second year, or is he going to have just a continuation of what he did last year? And something that I'm going to be questioning throughout the course of this season is how much of an impact is Gabe Perreault going to make at the end of the season, especially if Philip Hedl is not healthy after the trade deadline and when the playoffs start. Does Gabe Perreault, if he keeps on the same trajectory he took starting last year in Boston College, he seems like he slides right into that third line role to take the place of Hedl toward the end of the season. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that certainly toward the end of the season. But listen, hockey is here. Hockey started. The Twitter or the Twix feed is full of hockey content for the course of the day. Preseason games have started. How can you not be flipping excited about everything that is to come this year? All right, so let's go on to the daily WTF.
This is the wrong bell.
Weekly, I would say, but it does seem like we're just going to go with daily.
Yeah. No, I think I got to change that. I think I got to change it to weekly instead of daily. It's not daily anymore by any means.
No. So to kind of go behind the fourth wall with our audience, this segment is meant to be lighthearted. It's meant to be a little bit irreverent, possibly somewhat offensive. And that just did not feel like the mood that I could jump into in the first week because of what happened with the Gaudreau guys. So I'm going to make it kind of short and sweet, but just a couple of things to say about it. Well, first, how I found out, I'm in my car. It was like the day after I was with Nick in at that North Carolina game, and me and Casey were driving out to Tennessee. And when you're in a car with a teenager like that, and they're looking at their phone all the time, there's all kinds of reactions. There's and usually he'll look at his phone and be like, "Oh shit," and I'll be like, "Oh, what? Sorry, oops." But I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And it'll be something like, this guy that was supposed to go to Michigan to play football now changed and he's going to go to Baylor or something like that. I'm like, and somebody I never heard of, but he's like, that. So he says this, he's like, "Oh shit." And I'm like rolling my eyes, like, what's he going to tell me? And then he's like, Johnny Gaudreau passed away. And swear to God, my reaction, I throw myself under the bus for a second here. I said, the hockey player? Because I'm like, I couldn't even process it. I was like, well, what other Johnny
another one?
No, the janitor.
No, but exactly.
He wasn't talking about Barclay Goudreau. No relation.
Yeah, no, thank you, Sam Rosen. But yeah, it was such a gut punch to hear about that and what happened, obviously, with his brother as well. These are guys that ran around in the same youth hockey circles that my son's been in for the last several years, and he's played organizations that they used to play for, and just to even try to wrap your head around what a tragedy that was. It's just and it's so random and so sickening that it happened. And I just want to say real quick about this Sean Higgins, this I'm sorry to say, but this motherfucker who was behind the wheel. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to hear anybody blame alcohol for this fuckface and what he did out there. Like you see these guys on the road, you know, if you're driving on the highway anywhere anymore for 5 minutes, there's some jerk off who's going to be coming down like a bat out of hell, just doing stupid shit. And like, it's that I hope, you know, they throw the book at him so hard. I hope he never sees another day outside of prison if he goes his whole life. And I don't accept blaming alcohol for it. I've been a little bit over the limit behind the wheel myself. You know what I don't do? I don't go running over people or, you know, making, you know, doing stupid things like driving past people when they're trying to do something, you know, safe. So, I promise the daily WTF or whatever we call it will be more fun going forward. But, you know, I just had to get that out there. It's such a random thing. It's just so completely sickening. And yeah, I just had to get that out there, you know, before we head on into the season.
It's one thing I don't get either, too, in this day and age. And Steve and I have had this conversation many times. In this day and age, and even with athletes, you see it sometimes, and they're arrested for DUIs. With Uber, with everything that's at their beck and call, and it's not like this guy may not have the most money in the world, but you're gonna save a life by getting an Uber ride home from the bar because you drank too much, you know, or these guys that go out to the club and get bottle service and everything home, else they drive home and they get pulled over for DUIs, thankfully, before they fucking kill somebody. It is 1000% sickening to see people do this still in this day and age with Uber and all the ride services that are out there. It's mind-boggling.
Oh.
Makes no sense.
Even with that, like Billy said, the guy wasn't that far over the limit. He was barely over it, and it's just it doesn't matter if it's alcohol or not. I mean, you know, people drive like complete morons and don't take into consideration their actions. I mean, the guy was upset that he had to be in. There was a, you know, they showed a video of him like, you know, in the thing and in the I guess when he was like going through what interviews or whatever. Yeah, they're like, you know, and you're going to be here till, you know, for the weekend, and because it was Labor Day weekend.
It was Labor Day weekend,
and he was like visibly upset that he wasn't going to be able to get
and he
out.
was being so put out because he had to be in jail
and
for
the point
killing
of that
two
is
people.
Right, and the point is like that's your reaction because clearly not somebody who gives a crap about anybody but himself, and you know, just it's an incredibly sad thing. Jersey boy and his brother, both Jersey boys, you know, home to see their sister get married, both in the wedding, just decided to ride their bikes back because it was close to their house, you know, so they're riding bikes back. It wasn't, I think it was close to dusk. It wasn't like visibility was bad. It's just a combination of things that happen in life and something just completely, somebody just takes sides to take a very bad decision, and you know, they ruined a lot of people's lives that day, and it was extremely sad. So heart goes out to the Gaudreau family and everything, but man, just sucks. It's a shitty story all around. So
I got to go into Steve's stomach now with this. I got to follow this Steve's stomach.
I gotta go. I gotta tell you
deliver us.
what I ate after some death dedication.
you should,
Oh
you gotta
my God.
preface- We gotta
My
before-
fault. My
Before
fault.
you do this, you gotta
Right,
preface
okay.
what this segment is.
So, all right. So now let's go to this date in Steve's stomach.
That feels better.
So this date in Steve's stomach, right? Steve, since he was gonna get married to his wife, has kept a journal
He married his wife?
that he has eaten since 2004 or 2003, whatever it was.
2003.
2003.
This is just a fraction of the planners.
Not only has he written in all of these things, but he has kept all of the journals. And listen, there's a lot more you're going to learn about Steve and how he toes the line of serial killer. But we'll just start with this one and Steve Stomach. So today's date and Steve Stomach we're going to go to is from the year of our Lord 2024. Listen, this story was just absolutely way too good not to use. Please go to September 6th. I know. We usually go a little further back and try
Days
to hunt
ago.
for pumpernickel bagels, but this story, and by the way, in the audio version of the podcast, I would read the article. I'm going to try not to do that and find as many of these news stories as I can on YouTube where there's actually a reporter on the scene. And I found this one.
It's exciting.
Friday, September 6th. I feel like it was so recent. I don't even need the planner to tell you what I ate. I would remember. Breakfast was cereal, Raisin Bran.
Wait.
Which brings up the debate, so to speak.
Boy.
Debate? No.
Debate.
Just one crazy person.
What debate? One crazy person is correct. So, Steve, why don't you tell the audience of the two people that are listening right now how you ate your cereal?
You pour the cereal in, you pour the milk in, you mix it around a little bit so all the flakes and raisins get a little bit of moisture on them. And then you drink the milk.
Well, obviously you ate the cereal first before you drank the milk.
No, you drink the milk first, so that way the cereal doesn't get too saturated. Just saturated enough, and then you take the moisture away. It's brilliant. People who don't try it don't understand how brilliant it is.
So you're eating essentially dry cereal in a bowl.
No, you're eating moist cereal in a bowl and not saturated cereal in a bowl.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Mid-morning snack was a can of Coca-Cola Zero sugar. Lunch, tasty sub, bologna and cheese with a can of Coke Zero sugar. Wise potato chips on the side / on the sandwich, because everybody knows that's one of the best ways to eat a tasty sub. Dinner was a rather subdued dinner because I was alone. Tina went out for dinner with some friends. So I had a peanut butter and jelly and a can of Coke Zero sugar.
Oh,
I am a big fan. I'm a big fan of, if you're eating by yourself at home, make yourself a nice, delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
What's your jelly? What's your go-to jelly? What flavor?
Welch's grape jelly.
Okay.
Ooh.
Classic.
And we go with the the creamy, not the chunky, reduced fat Skippy peanut butter. Bread of choice is 579, which is a lower carb bread for those of you keeping score at home. Tom, why did you pick Friday, September 6th in this year, 2024?
Well, for that, we will be going to DC News Now.
Turning now to a bizarre story in the district. A man caught on camera in the middle of a lewd act, and it happened not far from a high school. DC News Now's weekend anchor Ben Dennis obtained that video. He spoke with the owner. Ben, what are you learning about potential consequences?
Well, Annalisa, imagine finding part of a cucumber in the grill of your own car. You discovered how it got there, and even worse, why. It's part of a sex act that happened right behind these homes, directly across the street from Dunbar High School. And we've stopped the video.
Is that the car? I hope that's the car.
Sex act.
You gotta tow it for that?
Right now, police are looking for that suspect. A shocking sight in broad daylight.
I was so disgusted and freaked out.
It was dinner time just after 5:30 Friday when a man with an apparent lunchbox crept into
blurring the face?
Driveway, lodged a cucumber in her SUV's grill, checked to see if the coast was clear, and began performing a lewd act.
God. I want my neighbors to know and keep an eye out for this person. I want parents to be mindful. There's a lot of kids They're high school students. They walk by themselves to and from school.
The alley where this happened is a stone's throw from Dunbar High School.
There's children walking around. You just have neighborhood kids, elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Right.
So it's just a kid-friendly neighborhood. So definitely want to get him out of the way.
The police report then details what's also quite clear in the video. The suspect chose to keep going, this time in plain view, and even appearing to notice the camera, recording the whole thing before putting the vegetable back in the lunchbox and walking away.
It was that eye contact that really unsettled me because it then continues for longer than one would imagine.
DC's indecent exposure law says that any public penetration for sexual gratification violates the law. Penalties include a fine up to $300, prison time no more than 90 days, or both.
And having that happen on your property with your car, that's definitely a concern.
We all have to be vigilant about this kind of thing.
And Baker says that she has not seen this man before. In addition, police, while they are looking for the suspect, it is unknown if he has been seen performing any other sex acts publicly in previous moments. In Northwest, Ben Dennis, back to you.
All right, Ben, thank you. And again,
Ben
DC
Dennis,
police are
2
looking
first
for that
names.
man on your screen connected to that incident. Anyone with info is asked to give him a call.
Wait, they blurred his face before.
Why were we blurred out during the video, but then we clearly showed his face at the end?
He's clear as day.
that is a
That's a
that
little
is a
strange.
solid question. But that's what happened.
When they had him blurred, I thought he was white.
13th, 2020.
Very disturbing, very troubling. However, might I point out, this guy might be a genius in so much as he thought to put the cucumber in the grill of the car to hold it in place so that he could back up on it.
How did you guys feel about them taking the cucumber and putting it back in his lunchbox?
Here's how I thought about that. When you find the right cucumber, I feel like you can't let it go.
Yeah, but after a couple of days, it's wilting. So you're only going to have it a couple of days.
So you got to make sure you keep it. You got to
keep
make
it
sure
for a
you
couple
hold
days.
on to it as long as you can, just like your loved ones. You hold on to them as long as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the lifespan of a cucumber is, and does the warm environment you're then keeping it in speed up
it
the
hold on, it did look
deterioration?
like his lunch pail was like a cooler bag.
Okay,
so
that
I would
wasn't
assume
the warm environment I was talking about.
No, I get that.
Okay.
But while it's not in there, as long as you keep it refrigerated, I think it could last you
2
about
weeks.
a week.
I would say 2.
I don't know. I completely have no idea.
We all have a science experiment assigned to us now. We're all going to see how long we can keep a cucumber. It's how many times a day do we got to put it inside ourselves?
See, now, and I would just say maybe put it in.
Maybe just put it in like the oven. Can you warm your oven to 98.6 degrees?
Do I have to bring this cucumber with me everywhere I go?
Yeah, well, you have to carry it around in a cooler bag. Yeah, absolutely. Just it's got to be like I don't know what type of ice he used in it. I'm not sure, but yeah, but I would think that you would.
I like that you went from like this, as in the size of the cucumber, to the ice. That was a good transition.
Was it
Nick,
a good transition?
Look at how disgusted Nick still is from the story and the fact that we're carrying on a conversation about it.
This is my least favorite thing of the week. I'm just letting you guys know. Of all the things I have to do during the week, then during this segment is the worst.
Poor guy too. You know, with the advent of the doorbell camera and the outdoor cameras, this guy can't get a fucking peaceful moment to himself.
Well, he was looking at the camera like he was making eye contact.
Well, if you're going to put a camera there and I can't then go on your property and perform lewd acts, you're going to look at the camera.
But if he didn't have a car, what else can he use outside to wedge the cucumber into in order to back
Chain
that
link
ass
fence. I feel like a chain link fence would be something.
Same thing. Chain link. Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like you have
We're thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
The part on the mailbox that you put up so that the mailman knows you have mail in there.
That's a little too high. It's a
maybe
little too
Kareem.
high.
Maybe Kareem would use something
Hold on,
like
but
that.
then you get a little step ladder and step to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to work. The grill of the car. I mean, Jesus.
It's the
You're right,
perfect height.
Steve. You're right. It's genius.
No, but it was a school area, so you just get like one of the kids to just hold it in place. I mean,
well, that's
to
now
offer him a $1
I think
over.
he'd go
Show
away
over.
for a little
Life
bit
over.
longer. I think
You're going to be in jail longer than the 90 days this gentleman is.
Right, and be fined more than $300. Ay. All right. Well, I think this was a good first attempt. We will see you all next week, next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel from the Friends and Rivals studios. Don't forget to go on to the YouTube Friends and Rivals, on the Twitch Friends and Rivals podcast. We'll see about what's going on with Twix and see if we can do the premium. But anyway, go on to our Twix account at Friends_Rivals. And yeah, let us know how we did today. Leave a comment on here. What do they say about the YouTube? Click, like, and share. Don't they say that?
Like and subscribe.
Comment and share.
Like and subscribe.
This is,
That's
and quite
what they
honestly,
say.
this is where the subscribing is going to come in important for people, because this way
yeah.
they get notifications on when we're doing broadcasts.
Oh,
Very
absolutely.
important.
There you go.
And when you want to not turn on YouTube. 100%. All right, so we will see you next week. It's been real. Bye-bye.
My friends and rivals. Flyers fuck, flyers fuck, flyers fuck off. Flyers fuck, flyers fuck, flyers.
I'm sorry, I had to pause. We didn't say the most important thing about our podcast. It's the one thing that we can all agree on, and that is fuck the Flyers.
Oh, fuck
the Flyers.
Hence Billy's outro song that we all.
I don't get to say something witty anymore.
Yeah, you totally skipped.
Oh shit!
Let's take it back.
Hey, preseason, boys.
Well, I'm not sure that we could take it. What's a live stream? We can't take it back, but let's take it back. All right, Billy, say something witty.
No, they're all gone now. No, we can't do it.
My
Bye.
friends and rivals. Flyers fuck, flyers fuck.